So the first one took place in country, and the second one took place out of country. At least this one didn't take place in space. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all-new Talkin Movies. As always, I am your host, the real Geno Reynolds, and today we're going to be talking about the third installment in the Secret Service Agent Mike Banning series, Angel Has Fallen, the first being Olympus Has Fallen, and the second being London Has Fallen. I will warn you, there might be some mild spoilers in this review. That being said, there's not really a lot of surprises in this movie. There was only one thing that happened that kind of surprised me. Other than that, it's a fairly predictable movie. What this movie is about, Agent Mike Banning is still on the job, and he has been suffering from concussions and migraines, and his wife doesn't know about it, but she does want him to be home more often. He's been on the job long enough, she thinks, but he still wants to be out there. He is up for being the director of the Secret Service. The president, now played by Morgan Freeman, who is the vice president in the other movies. He has him up for director. But Banning has pretty much told himself that he wants to still be out there. He's going to turn it down. But after meeting with a former war buddy, who now runs a private contractor company, he ends up in a predicament where he has to protect the president from a drone attack. He ends up in the hospital, as does the president, and everyone else is killed, and Mike Banning is blamed for the attack. So Mike Banning, someone tries to break Mike Banning out of the transport that's taking him to prison, but Mike Banning escapes them, and he goes on a mission to try to clear his name. That's the general setup for this movie. A brief history of me and this franchise. I love the first movie. The first movie takes place all in the White House, pretty much, and it reminds me of say Die Hard's cousin that Die Hard doesn't talk about. I love the first movie. The second movie, I don't know why I didn't like it as much. Maybe it wasn't as funny as the first one. Maybe it was just too big, like the scope was too big. Even though I really wanted a sequel pretty bad. I was a little disappointed. Also, I can't confirm this, and maybe someone in the chat can. In the first one, the end of the movie felt tacked on because there was footage of Morgan Freeman with a different beard style. He had like a shaved beard. Basically saying that Aaron Eckhart's character, the president, was still alive. I think there was probably the original ending was the president died, and probably saving Mike Bannon because Mike was about to have a kid and Aaron Eckhart had lost his family. So I have a feeling the original ending was that, but people didn't like it, so they just tacked on this thing of Morgan Freeman saying, well, the president's okay. But now Morgan Freeman's the president. So, yeah, I didn't know what to expect from this movie. I wasn't as excited for this one. I have to say this. It's not a bad movie. It's just not that great either. Gerard Butler, his character's way too serious in this one. And I think kind of like how the second one was. The first one, he was very John McClane, and I wanted more of that in the second one. And this one, he's fine. That I can say that about a lot of this movie. It's fine. There's nothing special about it, except I liked one character a lot, and I'll get to that character in a bit. Mike Banning, you've seen this story before. Wrongfully accused hero escapes to prove his innocence. He has to choose between the mission and the family in the end. I mean, there's just all sorts of stuff like that. Morgan Freeman is, when he's in it, by the way, because he's in a coma for a lot of this movie. He's fine too, and he's the only thing that's keeping people accusing Mike Banning of the crime because he's in a coma. You've seen stories like that. Danny Houston plays the friend turned enemy of Mike Banning, and he's a pretty generic villain. He's doing it. It's very. He's doing it for the money. You know, a war will see his business get back in. Get back to prominence because his contractor company, it's like one of those, like the independent contractor soldiers. He has like a group like that, and they are being undermined by Morgan Freeman, and so you know where that part of the story's coming from, and honestly, that makes the twist even easier to figure out. You have an FBI agent and her partner trying to track down Mike Banning. That's Jada Pinkett Smith, and her partner. They're trying to track him down, but they think he did it, and they eventually find out he didn't. You've seen this story before in many other movies, and really, it's just not. It's nothing original. It's fine. It's a rental, but the point of being excited for one of these movies left with the second one, and that's unfortunate because I really wanted this series to be something fun and special, and it's just not that fun, except for one part of the movie. The best part of this movie is by far Nick Nolte. You've seen it in the trailer, a little bit in the trailer. Nick Nolte plays Clay Banning, Mike's father, who we find out that, for reasons I won't spoil, he abandoned Mike and his mom when Mike was very little. It plays into the whole plot, so I don't want to spoil it. But the fun that, and they do have some serious scenes too, but the fun that Gerard Butler and Nick Nolte have with some of the funny stuff in the movie's by far the best parts of the movie. And Nick Nolte's not in it a ton, but he's in it enough. And just the fun they have together. Again, there's serious stuff too, but they have some funny scenes together. And there's one scene involving Nick Nolte that I can't spoil because it's definitely a plot device I don't want to give up. It's sweet and it's cool, and it's just Nick Nolte not even having to try to be a good actor, but he is. He makes this simple scene work really well, and it was just I just really liked him in this. I don't know how I would have felt about this movie had he not been in it. And also, there is a mid-credit scene in this movie involving the two of them, and this movie goes from taking itself a little too seriously to flat out just bonkers funny for this mid-credit scene. It's weird. It's just weird, the tonal shift that happens. There's really not much more to say about this movie. The action's fine. The plot's predictable, but it's fine. Again, there's one death. It's like, well, I'm not real surprised, but it's like, oh, okay, you did that. Okay. The movie's fine. I think I liked it better in the second one. Oh, there is no mention of Aaron Eckhart's character. It would have been nice for them to even say something. And if they mention that character's name, I don't remember it. But it's just all of a sudden Morgan Freeman's president now. Which, I mean, it makes sense. A vice president becomes president next. It happens. But they don't mention Aaron Eckhart's character's name. I thought they would have said something about him. I thought it would have been cool if Mike Banning needing help went to Aaron Eckhart's character and asked for help. That would have been a neat little thing, because the first two movies was really about their friendship. And Morgan Freeman in this movie, he says, everything we've been through, Mike. And it's like, really, it was Mike Banning and the other president that were buddies, So I felt like I missed a movie or something. I mean, yeah, Morgan Freeman was in the other movies, but it was just the connection was more with Gerard Butler and Aaron Eckhart's character, so it was missing that. Yeah, the movie's a rental at best. If you really like the series, you'd like it. That being said, nothing has been like the first one. The second one definitely did live up to the first one, even though it was way bigger in scope. I missed the claustrophobia. I missed the humor. Yeah, I would rather just watch the first one again instead. But the movie's okay. I mean, again, I think it was better in the second one. Probably mainly because, though the story was familiar, I liked Gerard Butler and Nick Nolte together, and I thought their on-screen time together worked really well. So it's a fine movie. I'm not going to highly recommend it. I'm really, this weekend, I'm going to tell you to go see Ready or Not again instead. Or if you haven't seen it, go see it. Or if you've seen it, go see it again. But this one, yeah, wait for rental. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin Movies. If you liked what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Geno YouTube channel, like this video, and if you have anything to say about Angel Has Fallen or the rest of the series, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Till next time, I'm your host, the Real Geno, Geno Reynolds. See you later.